Very special shout out to Anime Lover 3919, also known as 19 Decline on Wattpad. I'll leave a link to their stuff in the description below, as well as a pinned comment. Hello, Sister my name is Alex, and welcome back to me remaking Ash Ketchum's Pokemon teams. Now, this has been a long time coming for me. In case you couldn't tell, we are remaking Ash's Unova team. And quite frankly, I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while because this team was fucking trash. From every member being put on rotation to losing matches or ending the matches in a draw, this team was a major downgrade compared to Sinnoh. So today, let's rectify this mistake. Now, before moving on, I need to address the Caparaja in the room here. Whenever I think of Ash's Unova team, my mind is split in half. Like, do I give him a full Unovan team, or do I give him a mostly Unovan team with one exception? For simplicity, we'll just be calling these teams Team Black and Team White. Hey there, if you got this far in the video, then you'll be seeing the black version for Ash's team, where it's all Unovan Pokemon plus Pikachu. Time to get rid of some of the Pokemon on this team, and holy Christ was there a lot. Let's start with Scraggy. Now, I do understand where people are coming from. They can evolve Scraggy into a Scrafty later on and getting rid of Tepig, right? But in my mind, Ash probably never would have caught it if he didn't get an egg. Not to mention, as is, Scraggy didn't really do much, just learning Focus Blast, which goes against its entire nature. So yeah, sorry Scraggy, love you, but you're off the team. Next up is Palpitoad and Bulldor. I'm grouping these two together because they suffer the same problem, and that's they either end the match in a draw or they flat out lose. To my knowledge, Palpitoad has not had a single victory, and Bulldor only has one to his name. Just one. And not to mention, Palpitoad already mixes with two of the Pokemon that Ash has already, so too much type overlap in my opinion. Next up, may hurt some people, but we gotta talk about Leavanny. Now, I know people are kind of sick and tired of me giving Ash the starters, but here's the thing. After this one, he never got all of the starters again. Not to mention, he didn't have all of the Sinnoh starters and only one of the Hoenn starters, so get off my case, would you? Although, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because grass Pokemon in Unova don't really do so well, but at least Snivy's evolutions can get some coverage moves. And finally, we have Unfezant. You pretty much knew this was coming, right? Unfezant is one of the worst regional birds in the history of Pokemon. It's not very strong, its moveset is pitiful, and it just looks plain freaking ugly, especially the female version. I get it's supposed to be sexually dimorphic, but come on, you could have done something a lot different here. Along with not having any victories to her name, the smartest decision that Ash did was freaking bench her as soon as Charizard came back into the mix. Oh, and speaking of which, because I know people have done this to Ash's team already, but for me personally, I will not be giving him Darumaka/Darmanitan. Mainly because in their debut episode, Ash didn't really seem to care about catching the Pokemon. He just cared about helping them out because that's who he is. And I get why people give him this Pokemon over Tepig/Pignite. The abandonment trope has been used to death here, as well as Pignite just looking very ugly. Well, here's what I have to say to that. Darmanitan doesn't look any better, and they go with the abandonment storyline because it works. Just like Mario rescuing Princess Peach in every single game, and yet no one complains about that, right? As usual, let's begin with the starters. Kicking things off is the sassy grass snake herself, Snivy. For Ash, Snivy was a bit of a special edition, because she was the first girl that Ash had on any team. Prior to Ash coming to Unova, Snivy was owned by several other trainers. Unfortunately, they didn't meet her standards, so every time she abandoned them. However, things changed with Ash. While she does join the team, she's technically the last starter that Ash catches. But why is that? Well, out of all 3 starters, not only should have Snivy evolved, but she should have been the one to fully evolve. However, she would stay as a Servine throughout a lot of the series, much like how Sceptile was a Grovyle. But sometime before the events of the League, she would evolve into a Servine. Superior is also used by Ash's rival for the region, Trip. The idea is to serve as poetic irony for Trip. The same Pokemon you chose was also the Pokemon you lost to. And also stop being a cocky son of a bitch. Next is the first star that Ash caught in this region, Oshawott. Oshawott was something in this anime. Was the reskin of Dawn's Piplup really necessary for Ash? Oshawott is one of those Pokemon that I am the most adamant about changing. While yes, Oshawott does have a lot of victories under his belt, he has even more losses. And a big part of him being blind was because of one particular thing. One slight, minute detail. When he used Aqua Jet, he was blind. How does this even remotely make any sense? He's a water type. He should be able to see underwater. I get that Ash worked through this with him, but no. This should have been addressed a lot freaking sooner, or just never have happened in the first place. So, here's my remake. It's the gym battle with Clay. Ash loses the first match, with Oshawott being the last Pokemon he had. He brushes it off like nothing happened, but Servine has had enough of this carefree attitude. Ash depended on Oshawott, and yet he failed him. It's a miracle that he didn't get rid of him sooner. Understandably hurt, Oshawott runs out of the Pokemon Center crying. Ash and Pikachu find Oshawott training. He's using his Razor Shell, his Water Gun, but he's mostly training with Aqua Jet. And unfortunately, he's still not very good with it. But, like a smart trainer, Ash remembers he has other Pokemon that can help train him. Switching out Servine for Buizel, Buizel begins training Oshawott. As Buizel teaches Oshawott, the two begin to grow a brotherly bond. When Ash and Clay have a rematch, Oshawott is Ash's final Pokemon. But this time, Excadrill is Clay's final Pokemon. When the two clash with Rock Smash and Razor Shell, Oshawott evolves into Dewott. And Dewott manages to wreck shop with Excadrill, with Razor Shell and a massively powerful Aqua Jet. And from there, Dewott would be used in a bunch of matches while learning some coverage moves like X-Scissor. And just to blaze through this one really quick, we have Tepig, which will eventually evolve into Pignite. Now already people are going to hate me for doing this, but I'm just not that big of a fan of Darumaka, and Ash never seemed interested in catching it. So by that logic, it doesn't make any sense for me to add Darumaka or Darmanitan, and Pignite is virtually unchanged in this scenario. And like I said, there's a reason why people keep on doing this kind of format. It's because it works. It makes you sympathize with the Pokemon as a character. And that's the thing with the anime. These Pokemon are not data on a screen. They're legit characters with personalities, emotions, character arcs. So because of that, can you please get off my case about not adding Darmanitan? Please? And now a team member that really could have benefited Ash a whole lot if he actually caught this one, Braviary. So how would Ash catch Braviary? Isn't that thing like incredibly far into the Unova region? And while technically the answer is yes, I do have a way for Ash to get it earlier than intended. See, we take the Daycare Center episode from the Black and White anime, but instead of the egg holding a Scraggy, it holds a Rufflet. Rufflet would start off as a feisty bird looking for a fight with just about anyone, and eventually he does see Ash as a good trainer and a very good friend. For his size, Rufflet is a pretty powerful bird Pokemon with a wing attack, pluck, moves like that. Now, much like Unpheasant, Rufflet would evolve during the gym battle with Skyla. And much like Staraptor from Sinnoh, Braviary would be an unmatched competitor on the land or sky, due to moves like Close Combat and Brave Bird. And yes, he does help the other birds at Oak's lab protect Pidgeot's flock when Ash comes back from Unova, but he even teaches the birds a few new tricks. If you made it this far into the Team Black video, then we're now on to the final team member. For those familiar with the Black and White anime, this last team member should come as no surprise. We got our favorite desert dinosaur, Crocodile. And really, not much changes from the anime if I'm being honest. It follows Ash around as a Sandile. It evolves into a Krokorok before Ash catches it. It has a ton of matches as a Krokorok before eventually evolving into Crocodile. And Crocodile would serve as this team's MVP. I mean, what else do you want me to say about it? It's one of my favorite Pokemon and is probably one of the better Unova Pokemon that Ash caught from the anime. And that'll do it for this retelling of Ash's Unova team. Before heading out, I did want to ask a favor of you guys. If you wanted to see the opposite team, then subscribe to the channel and go check it out. And don't worry, you don't need to understand this one in order to get the other one and vice versa. Okay guys, so if you want me to do Kalos, which was arguably his strongest team prior to Alola, can we get 50 likes on both videos? I put a lot of time and effort into doing this, and goddammit, I deserve a little bit of a reward. Hope you enjoy the simultaneous upload. Until then, Celestial Dragoons, reach for the stars.